pour this. Welcome in, guys. I am literally just sitting here getting my next round of seeds kind of prepped to go. Probably won't do a ton of planting, but I'm going to get my seed starting mix moistened and ready, get my containers filled. Some of these seeds I'm going to soak. I'm just going to look through everything I'm planting, kind of tell you what I'm planting, and basically get things ready to go. Probably go through and label my containers. These are already labeled, so, well, I got 2 that say romaine, so I guess I'm doing 2 of those and 1 less of something else. That's fine. We could do 6 of those. I made a list with everything that I'm planting for right now. I've got all my seed packets, and I'm going to go through, label all my containers. I already figured out how many of each one I'm going to plant. And then some of these have different instructions on them, like cold stratification, so they've got to go in the fridge or freezer or whatever overnight. Some of them just germinate better when they're soaked. So if that's the case, I'm going to get them in containers where I can do that. The ones that I can plant right away, I'm going to go ahead and plant right away. So I'll be, moistening my potting soil or my seed starting soil and getting all these containers filled up. That's about it. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat during the live or if you're watching during the replay. And so that I don't forget, if you tune in and like the content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe out my channel. I have been trying to post at least weekly for right now. So I figured I would just do a quick live stream. All right, here we go. So we'll get these all labeled. Sometimes it's just nice to have people along with you for the ride, It's easier for me to see up close without my glasses. So, I will tell you, the outside garden is just up and trying to die. It's not dealing well with the heat, with the humidity, with the pest pressure, with the sun. And I understand that. It's been hot enough out there that I've not been able to tolerate being out there either. I am just coming off basically almost a week spent in bed because of back issues, among other things. I'm on some steroids to help calm that down, but it's kind of making some issues for me with other health problems right now. So, as steroids do. So I don't know how long this live is going to be, how long I'll be able to sit up for it, because I'm still in a considerable amount of pain and been getting a fair amount of symptoms today, but since I can't tolerate being outside, I figured I would do this, because even if I can only do it a few minutes, it's better than no minutes, right? So weird. Sometimes I feel like the algorithm pushes out my lives, and other times I feel like it does not. I know when I was publishing 3 times a week, I definitely had way more viewers and trajectory and all that. And right now, at best, it's once a week and sometimes weeks in between being able to post. But that's not by my choice. It's just what I've been able to do. I love sharing the gardening stuff with you guys, and I honestly wish I could do it every day. But if that was the case, I would probably still be working. So I am planting 4 containers full of snapdragons, because I'd like those to be some of my fall time flowers, and I do everything by seed, both to learn the whole process, and because of cost, and because it's very rewarding to me to be able to plant something from seed and see it come to fruition. And I don't have any snapdragons going, so that's why those get 4 containers. I am really adamant about trying to build more stuff in the garden, like to plant more things in the garden to attract pollinators, because this is my first year growing food and it has been a real struggle, like a real struggle. And I think part of that is because there were no pollinators or anything back there. There was nothing successfully growing back there. We're right up against a patch of woods, so there's definitely a ton of bugs in there, and they saw new leafy growth and they're like, ooh, and they're all coming out to eat. But there's not enough beneficial insects to help keep them in control. There's not enough pollinators to help actually pollinate the plants. So I figured the more that I can help grow that stuff, the better my garden will ultimately be. Even if I don't see the benefits this season, this first year, we're building a better ecosystem. So part of that is putting in flowers, and it's just pretty, you know. I'm also doing 1 container of marigolds, only 1, because I do have several others going already, and I just want to keep additional ones kind of going so I can pop them in as those die out or plant them in new areas. They're a great companion plant. And then one of the first things that I started was a herb garden in containers, and it honestly did not go well. But I've learned a lot since then. And truth be told, honestly, I've tried to do it twice now, but both times I tried it outside. This time I'm going to grow these herbs for the most part inside, because we're going to be using them in cooking, and being able to go over to like my seed starting station and just grab some right there is great. When it does cool down outside, eventually it has to, right? We can't stay this hot forever. Please, somebody tell me. I will go ahead and plant another round of these outside as well. Actually, I'll probably transplant the ones that I have in here and take them outside and start another round for in here. You know, and that way, you know, my neighbors can pick or whatever if they want them to. So that was an oregano container I just got ready. Now I'm doing rosemary. I do have some herbs already growing inside and outside. I've got a few kinds of basil growing outside that I purchased seedlings, or pretty established plants actually, from the farmer's market. I got 3 kinds of basil. I got lime basil and I got 2 kinds of Tulsi basil, holy basil. So those are in ground already. And then in containers, I've got Italian large leaf basil going. I've got a couple containers of that. I've got cilantro, I've got dill. I feel like there's something else too that I have going in containers. And I'm just adding more to that. So this one's rosemary. Next one, I'm gonna do chives and garlic chives. So chives have more of like that mild oniony flavor. Garlic chives have more of like a mild garlic flavor. So nice to have both. And a lot of these herbs, actually, if you let them go to seed, which is probably what I will let the ones outside do, they have beautiful flowers which attract pollinators. And then if you let them go to seed, and you can seed save and just replant the seeds, and then you don't have to keep buying seeds every year. So, nice little tip. I have zinnias growing outside right now, and as the blossoms kind of die off here and there, I'm clipping them, drying them, and then pulling them apart for seeds for next year so that I won't have to buy zinnia seeds. So I've got a good amount of them already, but I will keep harvesting the flower heads as they die off. And less money spent next year on seeds, so yay for that. We love that. Okay, so we got time. So we're going to do thyme, and we're going to do, is it Genovese basil? I had that going before too, and it was doing well, and it kind of died out in the heat of summer. That was in one of my raised beds outside, and so I'm just going to replant it again because I want a whole bed full of basil, and I feel like I love using it so much in cooking, like we can just never get enough, and my neighbor loves it too. And both of our husband's partners love cilantro, so I'm going to plant another one of those to get going so that we just have lots of it to be able to use in cooking and don't have to buy so much of it. Yeah, I don't feel like it's pushing my video out tonight, which is fine. I can talk and babble to myself, and I know people will watch it during the replay. And then when I actually plant my seeds, which will probably be more fun to watch because I posted today, that might get me more views then. So this is parsley, cilantro containers. Next, we're going to do peppermint. I have had the hardest time growing mints, you guys, and one of my dreams was also to have a whole bed full of mint, but maybe eventually that'll come to fruition, but at least I have the basil one coming to fruition. I also don't have that much space, so we do live in an apartment, and while they have so far looked the other way, and I try to keep everything very neat and tidy and technically portable. If I had to move it, I could take it down and nothing would be worse for the wear. But I'm also trying to be respectful and not push boundaries and upend the whole space back there. We still want, room for neighbors to walk around the building and things like that. So, yeah, so I might not have a whole bed of mints, but I can do it in I just bought another multi-pack of grow bags from Amazon and had some soil delivered. So I think what I'm actually going to do is be doing a lot more gardening in the grow bags because, again, those are portable. They can be taken with us if we have to move. They can be moved into the lanai if they have to be. And it's cost effective. It's actually physically easier for me to do as well because the raised beds, if I was physically healthy, no big deal. I found some for a great price. I got 2 beds that were 4 feet by 3 feet, and I put an archway between them and everything. They weren't bad. They ended up costing me, I think I got a 2-for deal. So I think they were they broke down to $17 for each of those beds, which if you know a galvanized steel bed, that's stupid cheap for that size, which is why I got them. And I was getting my bagged soil at a fantastic price too for what it normally retails. But when you do raised beds, we were doing the hugelkultur method. So, we put cardboard on the bottom of the raised beds. Then when you pile some logs in, then you do smaller twigs and sticks and leaves, some compost, and then you fill the top portion of the bed with your raised bed soil. And all that helps save. And over time, the sticks and wood and everything break down and actually create healthier, more nourished soil. And you save money on the initial run. You still have to top your bed off because there will be some settling over time. But I did that, but it's a lot of work. And physically right now, I can't do that. Alex definitely helped a lot with previous ones that we've done that way. Because me trying to do that by myself, it just wouldn't happen right now. So grow bags will be easier. He can move them around for me once they're filled, and it'll just be easier to plant out one thing at a time as a maple. Because that's usually what my gardening looks like these days, is plant one thing, water one section, go back in, lay down for 20 minutes, like cool down, hydrate, get, you know, literally recline. I don't know where y'all are watching from, but let me tell you, it is hot as hell here in Florida. So last two herbs that I did were sage and lemon balm. I labeled those containers. Now I'm going to move on to my actual, how do I say that? Plants? I don't know. Like, so some of these I feel like are different because like I can plant one container of sage, have multiple sage plants going in here, have it like one container will be enough. It'll eventually upsize. I can move it into a bigger pot, whatever. These ones I'm going to be planting multiple of because you really only get like one plant per container, if that makes sense. So things like cabbages, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, fennel, like I'm only going to get one of those from each container. Maybe two. I'm going to probably drop 2 seeds into each thing. So I might be so lucky as to get 2, but you know what I mean. It's a little different than like planting a container of flowers where you get lots of flowers from the one container. But we're going to plant 6 fennel. These are not fennel seed. These are fennel, the actual bulbing plant. It has like nice, kind of light black licorice and lemony flavor to it. That might sound gross, but it's really not. It's wonderful in a lot of Italian cooking. I love roasting fennel in the oven. When I'm roasting other veggies, we'll throw some of that in, and it's really lovely. And it's a little tougher of a plant to find for me. Like I have to go to Publix specifically to find that one. And I don't normally do my grocery shopping in person anymore. I do it online because it's very challenging, if not impossible, for me to routinely go to the grocery store. It takes a lot of my energy, and I'm generally not feeling well enough. So we do like, Walmart grocery delivery for, the bulk of our we're buying a lot of meats and fruits and vegetables from the farmers market, as well as our dairy. Or I'm making some of our dairy from milk that we bought at the farmers market. But as far as things we can't find there, or oh my gosh, these are stuck like Chuck. There we go. So that's, did I do 4? Yep, so I need 2 more of the fennel. But anyways, point being, fennel's a little tougher to find in the stores for me, at least where I live. And I'd like to grow it. And is 6 going to be enough for me for the whole year? No, but it's 6 more that I won't have to go pay money for. I would love to be growing a year's supply of all of our produce eventually. It's not going to happen here, not with my health, not with our space, but every little bit that I can do is dollars less that I have to give to a giant corporation, more that we get to keep in our pocket, better nutrition because it's coming right from our garden. We can pick it and use it. There's no degradation, there's no time, the carbon output is less, all kinds of good things. Plus, it's just so good for your mental health and physical health to garden. Like I said, even if I can only get out there a minute or 2 at a time, I know that still benefits me. Because let me tell you, the week that I was not even able to sit up and get out of bed, it's rough. And I know from times in the past when that's happened to me, when I've had to be bedbound for extended periods of time for whatever reason for my health, I've gone downhill very quickly. I'm pretty open about mental health, and I do suffer from anxiety that can be quite disabling at times. And typically, all of my bad mental health periods have come after a bad physical health period or during, So I know how much getting out in that sunshine and putting my hands in soil and tending to something that, is living, it's so good for us. And in particular, it's really good for me, and it's a necessary part of my my wellness journey. So it's a priority for me, and I make it a priority. And I know it might be frustrating to some people that you can garden, but you can't work. Yeah, because I can literally garden a minute or two at a time and come in and lay down for as long as I need to and cool off. And if I don't get out there again that day, that's fine. But, you know, I can't do that with a job. I can't just be like, okay, I need to lay down now and I might not be back the rest of the day. That's cool, right? Things come on very suddenly with my health, and my vital signs can change rapidly, and tons of different symptoms. So it's not fun, but gardening helps me feel better and gives me a sense of control, and it's something I can provide for my family. That's important to me. All right, we got the cauliflower ones ready. We got our green pole bean one ready. I'm only doing one container of those because I have multiple containers going. Same with the green bush beans. I have those planted outside already, so I'm only doing one more. That's called succession planting. Basically, when the current plants die out, these ones hopefully start producing, or in my case, because nothing's really producing, I am getting flowers and everything, but it's just too stinking hot and they don't want to set beans. So, you know, hey, maybe I'll have luck with some of these succession plantings if and when the weather ever gets cooler again. All right, we are going to do 5 cabbage plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got my nice little fan going on me here because I have been getting such waves of heat with like the simplest of activity. I think part of that, yes, it could be my pots, but I also noticed that massively worsens when I'm on prednisone, the steroids. So, and I am on them right now. So, got my nice little fan. I am so looking forward to fall, y'all. Like, I keep putting on, you know, like I don't know if you ever watch them, but on YouTube, they have like the nice little, I want to call them like screensavers, but they're not. They're like the ambient screens. So it'll show like a nice little seasonal screen or, and play kind of music. I usually pick like the no ad, like light jazz or peaceful music kind of screens, and like, the past week, I have been picking like fall and Halloween ones. Like, I just want the weather to cool down. And I don't mean cold weather. Keep this straight. I live in Florida. I live here for a reason. I hate winter. I grew up in the Northeast in the USA, and like, I love where I live. But summer is such a hard season for me to get through. All of my conditions like get so much worse with the heat, and I am so just looking forward. Like, we had like 1 week where the temps dropped down into the 80s, and like all my garden stuff started to bounce back, and like I was able to get, sorry, I get like these weird spasms. I was able to get outside more. I was able to take the dogs out with me, and like they love wandering through the garden and laying down and taking their little snoozies, and like, tell you what, all of us are just languishing in this heat. I just need it to drop like 10 degrees. You know, I don't need these real feels of over 100 every single stinking day. That was our 5 cabbages. We're going to do Brussels sprouts. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do 5 of those. I do have most of these I already have started. Like, I have broccoli, I have cauliflower, I have Brussels sprouts, I have cabbage going, but I didn't have enough space at that time to plant more than what I have going. And as the rest of the seedlings moved out from my seed starting station, now I have time to do more succession plants for these. So I am. I don't know how much more we're going to be able to do, y'all. I'm starting to really hurt again. I am in my wheelchair. I am on my gel butt pad just to try to keep the pressure on my tailbone, on my back, minimal. But yesterday I pushed too hard, I think, and I could not get the pain to like resolve even laying in bed on my heaty pad and with my muscle relaxers and all that. And I had taken over-the-counter pain meds, and I try not to do that too often, but just, I think it went too far and would not quit. So I really tried to be cognizant today, take it more easy. I put myself in bed for like an hour before doing this and just reclined back on my heaty pad so I could hopefully get through this. Before that, you know, I would just do little things and take lots of rest breaks on my heaty pad in between. My daughter helped me make dinner tonight. I know it's stinking hot outside, but chili was the easiest thing on the meal list, so chili and cornbread is dinner, although I haven't been hungry at all day. Which is really weird for being on prednisone, but I've been having a lot of GI issues lately. So I made myself a smoothie earlier. Put some banana in it because I've been having all kinds of like muscle twitches, and I was like, hey, maybe if I have some potassium in that smoothie, that might help kind of sort those out for me. So far the answer is no, but I still hold out hope. All right, so those were our 5 Brussels sprouts. Now we're just going to do another succession planting of some of our greens. I'm going to do kale. I do have some of that going. I'll take you guys over to the seed starting station too and show you what I have growing inside right now. It's not a whole lot because most of the plants got moved outside, either planted or waiting to be planted. A lot of them are just kind of sitting on the lanai trying to acclimate or trying to actively die outside. We've got our 2 romaine containers already full. What you looking for, honey? Oh, okay. Butter. I didn't grate up cheese, but feel free to. I figure we could put scallions on top. That's another butter lettuce. Again, I have more of those going, and we're going to do 6 broccoli plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's not pushing it out tonight. But that's fine. I haven't posted in a week. And the next video I do is going to be actually planting all of these, which will be more fun to watch anyway. So I'm just rambling to myself. I'll still get viewers on like the watch back, you know, so it's fine. I'm great at rambling to myself. Or to anyone who will listen. Love you too.
Baby, do you want me to bring your food with me?
Yeah, maybe she'll eat with you. Like, all she wanted to do was kind of guard it, and I didn't want that stress on her or Bubba, so I just put it up, and I was like, you just let me know when you're ready to eat, and we'll let you have it. I didn't do any meds with dinner because they did have afternoon meds, so I'll just give them everything at bedtime. So they're both comfier at bedtime. Yes, our dogs have to take meds too. Clearly they're in the right family. That has not been run. Did you want cornbread?
Not right now.
Okay. Usually you have cornbread with your chili. It's not even the honey sweet cornbread because they didn't have that, but I did make honey butter.
You want Wheaties maybe?
made with local honey that we bought at a farmer's market. And the honey literally made from like bees and flowers, like 15 minutes from here. So pretty darn close for local honey. I did put it in the dinger box earlier for her too, and like she sniffed at it, but maybe you can try again. All right, so those are ready to go. Oh, and I also learned, I've been trying to plant lavender for my daughter. I don't like the smell of lavender. It actually makes me kind of ragey and disgusted, but she loves it. And so I tried to plant it for her twice, but I learned today, and I waited a long time because I knew it was a longer sprouting herb, but I had no idea that it could take anywhere from 14 days to 60 days just for that seed to germinate. We're not talking to harvest, just for the seed to germinate. So I can't find my packet of seeds, but I asked her to look for it. And I was like, I'll replant some for you, and I'll try like some of my seed germinating tips and just stick with it for, I'll put the date on it and just stick with it for 2 months, I guess. And we'll see if we get any lavender. So I've got a lot of other medicinals that I want to plant when the weather gets cooler and I actually have space to do so. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've got lots more flowers that I want to plant in winter, but medicinal wise, I want to do, I've got chamomile, calendula, echinacea, nasturtium, bishop's flower, sorrel, anise, is it chervil or chervil? I don't know. Borage, marjoram, summer savory, and I've got some poppies and like Johnny jump ups and a whole bunch of other flowers that I want to start planting when the weather cools down. So nothing just really wants to survive right now. But anywho's, let's look at these seeds, see if there's any we can plant. That's a soak for 12 hours overnight. I know this one's a soak. The lettuces are definitely a soak because I've done them before. The beans are a soak. And again, this doesn't have to. So if people are like, I don't soak my seed, you don't have to. It's just to help increase germination. So if by taking 12 hours to soak my seeds in water overnight, I can increase germination and have to plant less seed and know that I'll get more reliable germination and then crops, hey, that's awesome. So I'm willing to take the time to do it. All I do is, honestly, I get out our drinking glasses and I write on them with my Sharpie what seed is in there and put a little bit of water, drop the seeds, and let them soak overnight. And then the next day I go ahead and plant them, and the Sharpie just like scrubs right off with soap and a sponge. So it doesn't like damage our glasses. Now don't go trying that on yours and then blaming me if it doesn't work. Do that at your own risk. But kale has to be soaked. Brussels, ooh, and that seed packet's coming open. Let's make sure that stays closed. At one point, I'm going to do a chaos garden. Maybe when I'm just out of F's or whatever, because I have this seed container that I was using it for, and I say seed container, that's generous. It's a Nike or an Asics shoe container from when I bought my shoes last time. And it's what I was keeping my seeds in at first because I didn't have anything. And some of the seed packets opened and seeds were coming out and I don't know what's what. So at some point, I'm literally just going to take that and scatter it in a garden bed and see what happens. And it'll be fun. Says the type A control freak. Cabbage has to be soaked. Cauliflower soak. Is there anything we can plant today? Oh, fennel apparently likes it dark. For better germination, soak the seeds for a day or two in the dark in warm water. I don't know how I'm keeping the water warm. Okay, 70 degrees. So that's room temp. That's fine. All right. Basil. I can do that one today. Sage. Keep moist. Transplant. Okay, we can plant that today. Peppermint. We can plant peppermint today. Oh, so that's what I was starting to say. Like, I have the darndest time with trying to grow mint from seed. I know it's one of those things, like once you get it going, you almost can't stop. I have issues with mint. I had a plant one time that I tried to keep alive from the grocery store. It did great at first, and like all of my previous mint plants, it eventually like died out. And I had a pile of cardboard outside that I had broken down, and it was just waiting for the next trash day to like go out. And I was so annoyed at like the last mint plant I tried growing, from the grocery store or whatever, and it was dying off. It looked dead, and I just threw it out there. And I figured, when I go out to gather the cardboard, I'll just put it in whatever trash bag is going out with the trash, and it's fine. Well, don't you know, trash day comes around, and I go out, and this thing is thriving in a pile of cardboard, neglected, discarded, not watered, not fed, just thrown out there, doing great. I don't know. Maybe mints just have a vendetta against me. I don't know what the deal is, but I've tried growing different kinds of mints various times here from seed, and I have not been successful. A couple of times I've gotten it to actually germinate, and then it dies out. So I don't know. I think I'm going to baby this one. I think I'm going to... Says needs, okay, so just on the soil surface, pat down to firm. It needs light to germinate, so we're not going to cover it with any soil. We're going to mist it to keep it moist, and I think I'm going to cover this one with plastic wrap. That's another thing that I do with some of my seeds that are a little tougher to get to germinate. After I soak them, I do plant them and then cover them with plastic wrap until they're more established, until they're reaching up against it, and then I uncover them, because at that point they're a little more established and hopefully won't give up the ghost quite so quickly. All right, this lemon balm, this one wants cold stratification, and I know that has something to do with putting them in there. I don't know how long I have to put them in there, but we're going to do that. So we won't plant lemon balm today. Parsley, this one we can plant, just cover it with fine layer of soil. My basil, honestly, I've gotten all these to germinate just fine. The parsley, the basil, the Genovese basil, the thyme. I actually have thyme growing outside quite well right now. It's one of the few herbs that have survived the summer in my raised beds. Garlic chives, regular chives. Yep, we're going to plant those. Rosemary I've gotten to germinate, and I actually had, this has been a tough one for me in years past. But I did actually have it growing well out in the raised garden bed. And again, as the heat climbed up, it died off. So, but yep, that one we can start today. Oregano we can start today. And let's see, our snapdragons and marigolds. Let's see. Okay, that I can plant. Snapdragons also want cold stratification. So we'll chill these seeds overnight before we plant them. So the two that need that are lemon balm and snapdragons. The rest of them will require soaking, so I'll probably do that in stages because I got a big bunch of them, and I don't even know if I have enough glasses to soak all of them. So we'll see. But I guess these two I can just put in the fridge. Baby girl. She's probably going to have to go through her pukey thing before her tummy starts feeling better, and then she'll start eating regularly again. We have a dog that likes to lick. What? You're going to have some?
Here I am.
Good. Yeah, we have a dog. When she gets nauseous, she licks the carpet. And unfortunately, we have two dogs in this home, and the majority of it is carpeted, not by our choice. And so fur gets trapped in the carpet. When she gets nauseous, she licks the carpet. Then she ends up with a hairball like a cat. Her appetite will be weird for a few days until she eventually hacks up a hairball, like apparently the feline she is. And then she'll go back to eating her food again. So until then, we just gotta...
I guess lesbians don't often hack up hairballs.
Alex, family-friendly channel? That's a weird comment.
Carpet munching?
Yeah, I know. Filter.
Non-existent.
Yeah. Anywho's, back to gardening. All right, what am I doing? I'm going to go put... Stop. I'm going to go put these two in the fridge, and I'll be right back.
Almost as red as you
There can be times I have no filter, but he really has no filter, so. But he knew I was on a live stream. Ay, ay, ay. People hacking up hairballs. All right, so basically what we've got that we can plant. French marigolds, oregano, this Greek oregano, by the way, rosemary, chives, garlic chives, thyme, Genovese basil, big Italy parsley, peppermint, broadleaf sage, and another round of Italian large-leaf basil. So that's what we're going to get going. I'm going to switch the camera view if I can make this reach. And we're going to flip around here. Oops. Oh, no, instead we're going to pop the phone out of the stand. If you're motion sensitive, look away. All right. So, these are all the ones I got to do something special with. I'll do that later. We'll put those aside. So first thing we're going to do is put our glasses on so we can see. And then we're going to wet our potting soil. Not potting soil. Seed starting soil. They are different. Seed starting soil is supposed to be sterile. I don't really think this stuff is. This is the Back to the Roots brand. There are things like this in this. This should not be in seed starting soil. Back to the Roots. Fix it. But I will say that I have good success rates with this, and it is organic. I do try to garden as naturally, as organically, as sustainably as I possibly can. This is my first year growing food. I am not perfect at it. I have not had a ton of successes, but I am learning and growing. So, what I do know is that what you want to do is not fill your containers right from the bags. You want to pour your seed starting mix into a container and you want to thoroughly wet it. There's reasons for that. If all you do is fill your containers first, plant your seeds, and then water, a lot of what can happen is when you pour the water in, it will actually, the water pressure, or I don't know, kind of having a brain fog moment on how to explain it. But basically, it will drag your seeds down to a further depth than you want. Or if they're supposed to be under a light coating, it might move them to the top and you needed a little layer of soil on there for germination. So basically, by pre-moistening your potting soil, you are helping to prevent that. And you are also helping to keep, because all I do is, after I plant these, I mist them. That's it. They don't get bottom watered until they're germinated and more well established. So you want to start with not drenched, but pretty, moistened potting soil so that things aren't getting all dry in there. And then once it's more established, then I start the bottom watering. So, I will put all of my containers in this, what do they call these trays? 10-20 trays. And I will literally fill this pitcher with water, take one of them out, pour the water in the bottom, and I let them soak overnight in that water. And then in the morning, I will take the containers out of there, dump off the excess water, and then I don't have to water again for several days. I usually end up doing that about 1 to 2 times a week, depending on how much they need it. But when they're first starting out, I generally mist them every day, sometimes twice a day. It depends. The grow lights can be a little bit drying, so it depends. If they're uncovered, like if they don't have plastic wrap on them, they generally need misting twice a day, a thorough misting. If I've got the plastic wrap on them and I've misted them right after I planted it, then I can usually get away with several days in between them not having to do that, because that helps kind of almost make like a humidity dome. And yes, I know I can get humidity domes for these. I'm just using what I have. And I have plastic wrap. Probably eventually I will, I don't know, know, I guess look for humidity domes that fit these containers, because I do like these containers. And then I'll use that. For a long time, when I first started gardening and I didn't have any supplies, I literally used whatever I had around the house. My first herb garden seeds, I started in silicone ice cube trays. I have done planting my seedlings in toilet paper and paper towel rolls and putting it in, like squishing all of those into like a roasting pan, and that's what I germinated my seeds in. I saved, we don't have recycling in our community, so I was saving a lot of our plastic containers from like all kinds of things, soda, yogurt, whatever, and drilling holes in the bottom of them, and that's what I would use to up pot my seedlings from like the little paper towel roll things. Or if I'm giving away seeds, I still have a bunch of those saved, because if I have a surplus of something, I don't mind giving that away to my community, but I don't want to be having to rebuy all of like my seedling trays and stuff. So I will up pot them into, like, I'll take like a 2-liter soda bottle and just cut off the top and drill a few holes in the bottom, and I'll up pot them into there, and then, you know, I will give those away. And I've done that. I gave away a bunch of tomato seedlings. I've done, I think we were ordering like cherries or something that came in like these plastic containers, and I grew microgreens in them. There was one microgreen I didn't care for. It was a fenugreek. It was very bitter. And so I offered it, you know, for free. Like, hey, I've got this free container of fenugreek, you know, do you want it? Somebody came and got it, gave them the extra seeds. But, you know, that way I didn't have them planted in like one of these that, you know, I need to keep my stuff going in. They could just take the tray, and I gave them the extra seeds and stuff and told them they could regrow it. So, all right, this looks nice and thoroughly moistened at this point. I'm happy with that. So now I need to kind of separate these out into what I'm planting today, into what I'm planting today, and then we'll just go through and fill all of our containers that we are planting today with soil. Okay, those are the broccolis. That's the butter lettuce. You know, just taking everything out that I know we're not doing today, so I can go down the line when we are. Green bush, green pole, cabbage, cauliflower, fennel, not all companies let you know you should do stuff like that. I will say, I got my seeds from Amazon. Lemon balm, that's what I'm planting today, sage lemon balm, from a company called Organo Republic, because I was able to get like a nice seed pack for relatively inexpensive, and then I bought some of their additional packs as well. I ended up getting like their starter kit, and it had like some nice little tools in it and a nice box that it came with to be able to save seeds, so I could get rid of my shoe box. Actually, I still have it, but now I've got a couple things to store seeds in, which is good because it's become a little bit of a problem. All right, snapdragons are getting planted another day. Those got to have the cold stratification. Okay, I think I got all of our containers ready that I'll need for today. So just make sure I look through. Yep. Okay. And all we're going to do is go through and fill containers now. I don't mind putting my hands in the dirt. It's quite grounding, actually. So usually just fill them about that high. I'm also going to need some more room to work, so let me get rid of the notebook. Okay. Now, these ones I'm going to stack up because I don't need those ones till tomorrow, and then we'll put that back there too so we have more room. Okay, kind of running out of containers too, so I'm glad I got all those done, but that's all I have left, so. But I will be transplanting more stuff outside very shortly, and that'll create more containers. Like I said, I was not able to go out at all today to do much of anything, but usually I'm doing like a few containers a day, if I can. I laid everything, no, I didn't lay everything out. I laid most of what I have out, so I know where it's going. Some of them require me filling grow bags and stuff before I can do that, so those are gonna wait for a little bit. Hopefully they won't just up and die in the process. Let's see, there's still a couple like little patches that aren't fully wet, but it's okay because we are still gonna spray these. And then after we get these planted, we'll take them over to our seed starting station and put them in there, and I'll show you what else I have growing in there. Someday when it's not face of the sun hot, I'll resume garden tours again, but right now I can't stand to be out there long enough to film a garden tour. So I actually saw two of the people that I regularly watch on YouTube for gardening content, and both of their videos this week were filmed in the rain, because on purpose, because they would rather be in the rain than trying to deal with the Florida sun. And those are probably, you know, I don't know, maybe they do have health issues that they haven't talked about, but you know, those are people that are relatively healthy, and even they don't want to be out there. So that says something. I think I wet this maybe just a skosh. Too much? I don't know. Not quite as neat looking as the last time I did it, but you know what? It doesn't matter. As long as plants grow, right? I'm probably gonna have a little bit of this left over, but we'll just add some more dirt and some more water for the ones that we do tomorrow, and it's fine. We're gonna leave the rest of this in the container overnight. Actually, this might be like exactly enough. I have one more container to fill to like scrape the sides. And I think one of my frustrations this year is like, because I'm new to planting food in Florida, like I have grown flowers before up north. I've never really grown food at all, period, before. And I've never grown in Florida before. So I'm following the advice of, you know, people who are doing it and have done it successfully. And, you know, I listen to, you know, the Florida Extension guidelines and when I should be planting stuff and all of that happy jazz. And everybody's saying, you know, it's time to get your fall seedling crops out and everything. I was like, really? Because it seems like it's way too hot for that, but okay. And I mean, I had so many seedlings in here, y'all. I had so many tomatoes and peppers and just tons of stuff. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna rinse my hands off. Okay, we're gonna have to set these inside of a container because these are so wet they're leaking water. That's okay. Towel. didn't know if you could hear that, but basically I said these are so wet that they are leaking muddy water out from underneath them, so I'm going to place them in a fresh 1020 tray just so they can finish draining in there and not all over my table or the seed starting station. I'm going to wipe up this dirty water and probably just rinse that 1020 container out so it's fresh for tomorrow. I know it's going to get dirty tomorrow, but that's fine. Be right back. Okay, I'm just going to tidy this space up a little bit. Part of the thing for me is like, even though I know I'm going to be planting more seeds tomorrow, I want to clean up so that this looking dirty and disorganized does not prevent me from wanting to sit here and work in this space tomorrow. Sometimes it's just setting yourself up for success by overcoming any barriers that you would have otherwise. And I could see this being a barrier for me. I like to work in a clean, organized space. And so I will clean up the mess I made tomorrow so I can start tomorrow in an organized space. I feel like this whole week I spent in bed definitely took its toll on not only me, but the house conditions. So whatever I can do to keep things tidy, a little bit at a time, it's good for my mental health. All right, that's better. Be right back. Let me get rid of this. Oops, here's my marker. Okay, now I'll actually be able to plant seeds. And okay, so I was talking about Organo Republic, and that's where I got my seeds. And part of what they sent when I ordered like this little starter gift, actually I think this comes free with like every little seed thing you order, but I could be wrong about that. But it came with this little set of mini garden tools, which is helpful for me. Some of these things are super helpful. So I like the little seed dauber thing, so you can, put your little hole in. It does have measurements. I don't know if you can even see that on the back of it. So like if something says plant 1/2 inch deep or 2 inches deep or, whatever, it's got measurements on the back of it so you know how far to go. I find that I am not good at guesstimating lengths of things. And then like little tweezers, that's helpful for me because when I soak these seeds overnight, they get quite slippery and they don't want to come out nicely. So this is easy for me to like stick it in the glass and pull it out that way. Let me move this kind of back and over to the side. I think you've got a decent view. As you can see, I've got multiple things going on at this table. That was a puzzle I was working on a while back. And just kind of press pause on that for now. All right, so now we just get to find our, can you see? Yep, you can see our seeds. And we'll just do whichever. All right, let's see. Was I going to do the lemon balm today? No. Okay. So we'll set that over there and that'll get done tomorrow. I couldn't remember if that was one or not. I think that was the cold stratification one. So in the front, I've got cilantro. Did I not set out my cilantro seeds? I must not have. Okay, so I'll have to find those. That's fine. So we'll plant that later too. All right, we've got thyme. Just kind of want to get these even a little bit. And thyme says 1/4 inch deep seed starting foil and keep evenly moist. Okay. So, honestly, if it's a tiny seed, and I'll show you how tiny these are, and it says something like 1/8 of an inch deep or 1/4 of an inch deep. I mean, really, look how tiny these are. That's how tiny. So, what I'm honestly going to do is scatter these across the top. And then pat them down. And then they will get misted. And we call that a day. And then I'll set the ones that I planted aside. Okay, oregano. Oregano says barely cover seeds, keep moist, seedlings emerge. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing probably with these. Are these, yeah, these are super tiny. These are even tinier than the thyme seeds. So I'm going to do the same thing with these, and I almost put them in the wrong container. That would be very like my brain lately. Been mixing a lot of things up. And you know what? So I don't have to get my hands all icky every time since I rinse them off. I'm just going to pat these in with this. Okay, great. Those are done. Now we're going to do parsley. This is the Big Italy variety, I guess. Hang on. If I can't really see the screen the way I've got it positioned. I'm trying to show you guys too. All right, so big parsley. Again, 1/4 of an inch. So we're just going to sprinkle across the top and pat them in. Actually, these ones are slightly bigger. We probably will put a gentle soil covering over these. If you can see, let me focus. Focus. So that's what those look like. But same deal. Just going to kind of sprinkle them in. Then, since it does want a little bit of covering over those, and those are slightly bigger, I'm literally just going to take a very small handful of my seed starting mix and do a little sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. That's it. Okay. Next, we're going to do our basil. And this one is, if anybody knows, is it Genovese? Genovese? I have gotten this to grow quite well in the past. It just died out in the Florida heat. And these, like some of these, yeah, I'm planting more than the seed packet calls for, but I can also thin these out or just up-pot them into different containers once they get bigger. Just because this is the amount of space I have to grow now does not mean that's the amount of space that they're limited to forever. this one wants to be covered as well. So, you know, if I have more plants than I can grow, like I said, I'm not afraid to give them away. I'm not afraid to plant some outside. You know, I can always have a pot going in by my kitchen because we cook with basil often. So it's very satisfying to me to be able to like cut some fresh herbs to be able to cook with dinner. All right, let's move these over. Next, we're gonna do garlic chives and sage. Let's see who we need the garlic ones. Cover, seedlings emerge, then, okay, very good. That's the packet. These are actually rather big. So, again, these I won't hesitate to cover with a thin layer of soil, especially when they're bigger like that. Okay. Yeah, when they're so tiny that like you could put a dot on a paper and that's how big they are. Like, I'm not covering those. Now we do the sage. These were bigger seeds if I remember. They sound like it too. Yeah, okay. Let me show you guys these. Again, it's the broadleaf variety that I'm growing. And it does say only 1/8 inch deep though. Keep moist. Okay, so before transfer to garden, yeah, okay. Sage was another one that I had successfully growing outside, and again died when the heat got really bad. So. Let's see, I think I'm actually just going to take a couple out of here. We've got this whole line planted. Let's bring this whole line forward so I don't mix up what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm not worried about like the dry soil I'm putting on top because again, I'm going to mist these thoroughly when I'm done, so these will get watered in a sense. All right, next one we are doing is peppermint. Needs light to germinate, so we're not covering these at all. You're sowing these on the soil surface and patting down firm. All right, ooh, I haven't even opened this package yet. That's what they look like from the package. I'm trying to remember to show this stuff just in case anybody wants to screenshot it. I do like this company because I do think they provide a good amount of information on the seed packets. And that's helpful to new gardeners like myself, that I'm new at gardening. I'm new at food gardening, so the only feedback I have is that their seed packets are a little difficult to open sometimes. Like, they don't open nicely, and then they are like that thin paper. So, ooh, these are real tiny. Wow. Okay, I can see why they don't. Look at these. Let me just. Can you literally see? These are like, the individual seeds are like the size of an individual vanilla bean, like super tiny. Like, I've made dots on paper that are bigger than this. So, and again, because I've had so much difficulty trying to get mint to germinate, I'm going to try to get this as perfect as possible, just even everything out. I'm going to sprinkle a crap ton of seeds across it. And that one I'm probably going to even cover with plastic wrap just to really try to force germination as much as possible. All right. I know you can't see a darn thing, but I have sowed them evenly across the entire surface. And then patting down again, because these are right on the surface. And we want them to stay there. Okay. Chives. Chives is our next one. Okay. Did I forget? I'm a little mixed up right now, so you have to excuse me. Just trying to figure something out. I'm going to have to go back and look. Either I forgot to make a container, or I didn't pull it out, or I already sewed it and forgot to move the seed packet over. I do a lot of little strategies like that lately, just to kind of try to help me remember if I did something, like move it out of the way if I've done it. All right, this one is just our regular chives. So they need between 60 and 70 to germinate. That's fine. We keep our house in that range, so that's fine. Okay. Doesn't say anything else. Okay, here we go. When to start? Scatter seeds in the pot and potting soil. Cover lightly and keep moist and warm. Set in a sunny window while they're going under a grow light. So that should be fine. And these ones, oh, let me show you. These are a little bigger. That's the seed packet. And we are going to cover these lightly, since they are bigger and they want to be covered a little bit. They want to be tucked in with a blankie. There you go, chive baby seeds. Okay. Next, we're going to do our rosemary. Rosemary is one I have struggled with. I did actually get it to start growing out in the garden, and even the tiny little, what do they call them? Cotyledons, the first leaves before seedlings get their true leaves, even those smelled like rosemary, but I couldn't get it to grow bigger than that. So hopefully starting them inside, where I can kind of control conditions, I'll have better luck. All right, quarter deep, keep evenly moist. Okay, all right, so that's fine. Show you what these seeds look like. That's our seed packet. I did find that very cool, because like I said, my history with gardening was growing flowers, and it was up north. One of the coolest things that, I don't know, maybe everybody else knew this, but I didn't, is that as the leaves emerge, a lot of them smell like the plant that they're growing, or have a certain fragrance, like right away from the tiny little get-go. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. Like my yellow squash plants, they actually reminded me of corn chips, like Fritos. That's what those smelled like to me. But that was a very cool experience for me to like be able to sniff all the plants and be like, oh my gosh, that smells like what it's eventually going to be. I just think that's really cool. All right, so last we're doing another container of our French marigolds. This is the Sparky Mix. I like this company too so far. I've had good germination rates, and I do like the information they put on their packages as well. This is from Sow Right Seeds. I bought kind of like a little multi-pack of different flower seeds from them, and so far I've been really happy. I've had really good germination rates with everything. If you don't know, these are quite different from anything we've planted today. So this is what your marigold seeds will look like. Kind of reminds me of a cross between like a little stick and a bird feather almost. Like, see how close I can get. Not very. But yeah, they're like tiny little bicolored matchsticks, really. These, I think I scattered across the thing and then just covered. What does it say? Yeah, 1/4 inch. So I think I literally just scattered these liberally across here last time and then covered with a thin layer of soil. let's not put that in with our chimes. I know, oh, well, I don't want to upset the balance too much, but I know I have mixed up containers when I've been planting lately because I've had some like weird volunteers or things I would otherwise call volunteers if I knew my brain wasn't so scattered lately. But mystery plants cropping up in other things. I'm like, no idea what that is, but it looks healthy and I'm going to let it go. We'll see what it is. Okay, so let me just double check. I just want to see if I did the Italian large leaf basil. I know we did the Genovese, whatever. No, okay, and I think I have a container for it, so let me find, oh, but I don't have any more soil. Okay, you know what, it's fine. I'll plant that one tomorrow with the rest of the things that I plant tomorrow. Let me just find where I put those. Those here. Nope, those are for later. Where's my packet for tomorrow? Also, where's my glasses? Here they are. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put that over with the ones for tomorrow just so I don't forget to plant another thing of it. Let me get my little mister and we'll mist these. And let's see, ones I want to cover. I'm going to try covering the rosemary and the peppermint. Actually, what I might do is just put plaster wrap across the whole thing for now until everything germinates. It's not a bad idea. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so just draped a little towel across there so that as I mist these, I don't water whatever's behind it. Obviously, the ones that have dry soil on top, we're going to mist those a little more heavily so it really gets everything wet. Not any fancy equipment. I think we've got this at the dollar store. Very official here. Another problem that you can have, and actually that I'm seeing with this one, let me show you guys this so you can see up close. So dry soil that has not been previously moistened can be what's called hydrophobic, meaning it kind of rejects water. It almost doesn't even want to soak it up. And this one here that I'm spraying, I noticed as I was spraying it, the water was beating up on the top of the soil instead of going down. So that is another reason why we pre-moisten our seed starting formula before putting it into these pots, because sometimes what can happen if you don't and you fill your entire container up with this dry soil and then you go to water it and the water literally runs right through it. And what will happen is it will have pockets. I don't remember if I did these or not, so I'm just going to do these ones. Your soil will not be moist, and maybe whatever pocket your seed is in doesn't get any water, and so that seed never germinates. So that is something you want to help prevent. So that's another reason why we water our seed starting mix. All right, those are ready. We're going to cover those with plastic wrap. Yes, I know that was a dirty towel. I don't care. I pulled it out of the laundry bin because all I was doing was wiping up dirty water and preventing water from going all over things that I don't want to get wet, like the puzzle back there. All right. And then I'm probably going to have to actually rearrange some things in my seed starting station before I can plop these in there. All right, I'm going to probably do a couple layers of this, which is fine. Yeah, we're at the end of the roll, which is why I'm using it up. Don't think I'm going to buy another roll. We are trying to make small steps to be more sustainable, eco-friendly, that kind of stuff. Part of, you know, just to be able to use more things that we can either grow ourselves, make ourselves, create ourselves, source locally, or sustainably in bulk from a reputable company, things like that. And some of that is just, you know, like our soaps, for instance. I've got a ton of supply of soaps. I'm going to keep using what I have, but when it's time to buy more, I'm going to find a more healthy option, you know, that's not putting some yucky chemicals on my skin or things like that. So we're slowly making little changes, but I'm not going to throw away perfectly good usable stuff just to go in a landfill, or I don't have the budget to just throw it all out or give it all away and start over again. So we're going to use what we have, and we're going to slowly replace things with better choices. So, all right, let me take you over to the seed starting station. I'm not going to bring these over quite yet. I will do that after the stream because I need to move some things around in here, including adjusting the lights. These are actually going to shut off very soon. They're on a timer, and they go off shortly after 10 and they pop on in the morning. I think we've got them set to like a 50-hour time or 15-hour timer. So this is what I have growing in here so far. This was completely full, and most of them got moved out. Ooh, awesome. Okay, yeah, my battery's getting low. It's fine. So we've got, you know, some butter lettuce is growing. I do have little baby romaine, some eggplant yet, Brussels sprouts. I got some catnip growing. This is kale. She needs to be watered. Getting a little floppy. Actually, that leaf feels amazing. And yeah, so that's going good. This is spinach back here. Cabbages, more large leaf basil, dill, cilantro, more butter lettuce, jelly beans. All my other tomatoes and peppers are aside, but this one was kind of slower to grow her in here. Those were pitted seeds, and out of the whole package, I've planting them multiple times now. This is the only one that I've gotten to actually eat and successfully grow. I don't know how she's going to do when I put her outside, because the healthy looking ones didn't do so good. Obviously more basil. I told you we love it. And that's a zucchini, a couple of zucchini plants that were kind of late to germinate. So those will go outside soon too. We'll see if we get anything. So I'm going to end up moving things around here. I need to adjust my lights and make a whole shelf open for all those seedlings to be popped on here. But I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them for me. Even if it's from watching a replay, I still will go back and review those and try to answer all of them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will probably be back with another live either tomorrow or the next day after. What kind of bug is this? Oh, that's a spider. I don't love bugs inside, but it is seeming to quite enjoy the little ecosystem I have created here. So it's a tiny one. I might let it live. I might try to capture it and put it outside. But yeah, I'll probably be back tomorrow, the day after, to finish planting the rest of my seeds out and Eventually, when I can tolerate being outdoors, I would love to give you guys a garden tour. There's so much that's changed since I've done it last, and I'd love to be able to share that with you. But thank you for your time. I know you could spend it anywhere doing whatever you want, and I appreciate any time you spend with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.